Thank you, Michael. I will try not to bore you too much tonight, but I think it is my duty to tell you a little bit about the foundation and make sure that you understand why you're here and why we're thrilled that you're here. Monsieur l'Ambassadeur, Monsieur le Consul Général, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, chers amis. I'm absolutely delighted to greet you here tonight at Capitale in this fabulous decor that blends the new and the old, and that bridges time and cultures pretty much as a symbol of the way in which the French-American Foundation is to bridge our two cultures. Benjamin Franklin would have been delighted to be here today. In 1783, he witnessed the first ascension of a hot air balloon in the Tuileries in Paris as he was writing the Anglo-American Treaty and marveled at this feat. And I think that these spheres symbolize perhaps also that period of time where culture, science, and innovation certainly something that Benjamin Franklin would have understood. I want to thank at this point our gala chairs, Elizabeth Fondaris, our co-chairs, Felix Royatin, the members of our dinner committee, Elena Patterson, Odile de Squitter, Dorinda Hawkins, and Christine Cachot, for their commitment, their hard work, their inspiration, and their support. I also wish to recognize David Brunswick for his unique contribution as the chair of the Benefit Committee, and will ask I will ask the staff of the foundation to actually rise, stand up. Please stand up so that you can be recognized. Amongst you, you have Joanna Kohler, who is responsible for our programs on equal opportunity, Emma Archer, responsible for cultural policy programs and translation prize, Chris Laporte, who together with Thibault Charton managed our recent media coverage of immigration, just mentioned by Kate minutes ago, but also who is responsible for our Young Leaders program. In a minute, I will tell you a little bit about that. But also, and very importantly, Dana Arifi, Elizabeth Waterman, Fabien Juéry, and Sierra Schaller, who absolutely tirelessly for the last 4 or 5 months, and when I say tirelessly, I mean to 10, 11, sometimes all-nighters and weekends have worked at this gala, and I want to thank you personally for the extraordinary work that you have all done. "30 years ago, some brave men, and amongst them Art Hartman, figured that with the memory of World War II basically going away as the veterans were aging, there was a risk that the cross-Atlantic dialogue could be forgotten to the benefit of perhaps a dialogue with Asia, and that the importance of the old friendship might wane. And they wanted to work on the fact that particularly those two countries, our two countries, France and the United States, who share so much history, should continue their dialogue for the benefit of a better world. Indeed, when you think of the history, our two countries have been intertwined, and our soldiers that have fought side by side at Yorktown still fight today in Afghanistan, all that for the same idea of liberty and democracy. Excuse me. In a few minutes, Ambassador Hartman will receive the Vergennes Award. And at this stage, I want to tell you a few words about our mission. Why are we all here tonight? Our mission is to help leaders, experts, intellectuals from both countries to meet in an effort to fight stereotypes that get in the way of a productive dialogue, exchange ideas and best practices to solve problems that confront at home, and also develop a common view to solve problems in the rest of the world. In many cases, our countries share similar problems. We've talked about some earlier when it comes to immigration, and yet bring different solutions. These solutions are complex, not always rational, or perhaps I should say they are highly rational, but often limited by mindsets, prejudices, and cultural habits. This foundation is in the business of helping our leaders on both sides of the Atlantic to improve their skills, break through the barriers and narrow mindsets, develop a wider conceptual framework, and benefit from the vision of a third party. This requires a dose of humility. Nobody likes to be told that there might be a better solution, and only good friends can do that to each other, and indeed, our two nations are good friends. It is a lot easier to explain, and I could tear your hearts with stories of Somalis being displaced, of Mauritanians being ethnically cleansed, or perhaps even of the crime that happens in the streets of large cities such as New York and Paris, Brazil, or elsewhere. But I think that the work of the foundation, while not directly touching these particular individuals who are in great need, nonetheless feels a very, very important function, that of developing and helping develop public policy that does ultimately help those populations which in fact live within our own. Last week in Paris, the foundation, together with its sister organization in France, brought together about 60 media executives, reporters, editors, bloggers, lobbyists, and academics from the United States, Canada, France, England, Germany, Spain, Italy, to talk about immigration, share in the best reporting practices, editorial content, and the ethics of the profession. Immigration is one of the most complex topics to report on, as feelings about immigrations, both pro and con, cut across age groups, political affiliations, social economic strata. This makes reporting on immigrations very difficult for fear of alienating portions of readership or audience, and often editors will basically shy away from complete or from reporting at all. As a result, the problems at their root are not necessarily well addressed. Our seminar included study tours during which participants, which were broken into small groups, had a chance to meet with immigrant representatives, neighborhood activists, refugee center management, and occupants, school and local government authorities all around Paris. The participants learned firsthand about differences in approaches in immigration laws between our two countries and gained a better understanding of how to portray in their work these specific situations and these very delicate missions. The French-American Foundation makes no attempt to endorse or condemn a particular policy, but rather helps those participants to better understand the situation. And in such, we hope that better reporting will result in better public policy. I hope that this one example, I will not give you another one, was enough to illustrate the type of work that we do. At this stage, I would like to thank, because this particular program on immigration was made possible thanks to donation from the Ford Foundation, the Carnegie Foundation, Open Society, Outbound Philanthropies, and several others, and I thank them at this stage. Another hallmark, and I'm almost done, so just bear with me a very short minute. Another hallmark program of our foundation is the now very famous Young Leaders Program. As you know, this program brings together young leaders from both sides of the Atlantic, and this year the seminar took place just about 6 weeks ago in Chicago. I could have asked former participants, Bill Clinton or General Jim Jones, to be here and perhaps talk about it, but they didn't come tonight. However, I'm convinced that they would have said the same thing as a couple of our participants from this year, Claude Grudnitsky from France and Roy Kastovitz from the United States, experience. And in a minute, I will introduce them and let them give you a testimony about their experience. Finally, as a tribute to this leadership program, the Foundation selects each year a top leader from the industry or financial sector. And I am honored and proud this year to introduce at this gala Mr. Carlos Ghosn, who will be receiving our Benjamin Franklin Award. And I thank him for having accepted to join us tonight. At this stage, I will turn the podium to our young leaders. Claude, here they are, I'm sorry. Claude and Roy, please.